Hello, everybody. So it is now 10 a.m. European time, 9 a.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern Europe. We are about to start. I will just give a minute or two for people to join us. This is our traditional autumn webcast when we're going to cover new functionality, new developments, and future plans for PortaSwitch. For those of you who are attending those webinars for the first time, it is going to be a live and interactive session. Your microphones are going to be muted now because we expect quite a lot of people, so we don't want to create too much noise. You will be able to type your questions in the Q&A section. This is in the bottom right corner of the screen. So anytime during the presentation, if you would like to get more information about some topic, if you would like to have some clarification, feel free to type it there. Just one request. This is a public shared session, so it's better to focus on the topics which are interesting for the wide audience. If you have a question about a specific project, a feature request, or even a trouble ticket you already have open, it's probably more appropriate to take it to the offline discussion and discuss it with our team directly. Okay, so let's proceed. Once again, welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to have you here at our regular PortaSwitch new functionality webcast. Today, presenters is going to be me, Andriy Zhelenko, Chief Technical Officer for PortaOne. I will be assisted by Mike Kidik, Senior Project Manager, and Eleonora Sokolova, Senior Application Engineer. The plan for today's presentation is to talk about new functionality enhancements and improvements in PortaSwitch. I will give update regarding cloud project from the perspective of PortaOne, and also I will share a bit of information which I presented at Oracle Open World Conference in October. We will talk about BMAP Scotty. The idea is to lift up the customers who are staying behind the maintenance releases, to lift them up to the space ship as quickly and as efficiently as possible. We'll talk about future plans. And as usual, we'll dedicate a large portion of today's presentation to the answering your questions. So it's going to be live and interactive discussions. That said, I'm passing the microphone to Mike Kidik, who will talk about improvements in the PortaSwitch platform itself.
Good morning, everyone. I have to admit I'm a little bit jealous because Ella is getting the most interesting part about Star Trek, about Beam Me Up, Scotty. But anyway, let's see what new features we have in the latest version of PortaSwitch. You know that we've been supporting site redundancy for quite a while. Basically, it allows you to install PortaSwitch in multiple locations, in different data centers, different countries, different parts of the world. But there was always a challenge of rerouting traffic from one site to another. So we introduced dispatching SBC, which acts as a single point for all your customer and vendor equipment, SIP phones, gateways, switches, whatever. It's a single address, IP address or host name that all equipment would use to send calls to do registrations and so on. And in case of multiple sites, the SBC can dispatch calls to your main site or to your secondary sites. This is especially useful during zero downtime updates, when when you need to update the main site, so all the traffic has to be handled by the secondary site. And dispatching SBC allows you to seamlessly switch the traffic to the secondary site and then back to the main site. We also introduced a dispatcher for API requests. Basically, it does pretty much the same thing for any API queries. that your other systems may do, the systems which are integrated with portability. So again, the request can be handled by any of the web clusters, and the API dispatcher will just proxy those requests to the required site. Another interesting addition to dispatching SBC is a percentage-based split of traffic. This is especially useful if you have, let's say, main side with higher capacity, and then the secondary sites are probably with smaller capacity. So in the SBC, you can set it up that, for example, 70% of the traffic goes to the main site, while only 30% of the traffic is routed to the secondary site. So it allows you to keep the service uninterrupted during the updates to new version, during zero downtime updates, and at any point in time you can switch traffic between sites. We had two ways of handling DADs for quite a while. Traditionally, local DADs, the ones that you get from the regulator, is typically uploaded into the DAD inventory, and usually foreign DADs obtained on demand from external DAD providers. In the latest version, you can now combine both options. You can provide both types of DADs simultaneously. There is just a single interface for the end users where they can just choose a country, the area, the part where they want to get a DAD from. And then the system will seamlessly query the DADs from the inventory and from the external DAD providers. It's all provided on a single interface, as I said, so it's very easy for end users. And we believe it will enable you to sell more DADs and it will increase your revenue. The next feature is introduced in the area of mobile communications. Traditionally, roaming usage is handled through mediation. You know, the usage is typically reported in specific file format, which is called tab3. Yeah, this is a standard format for roaming charges. And traditionally, those usage records are handled through the mediation. But since mediation is not a real-time process, many service providers are either reluctant or even don't provide an option for their mobile users to use mobile services while roaming. So with the latest versions, you can now have the real-time authorization and charging for data sessions which are initiated while the user is roaming. Obviously, you will want to charge a different rate depending on where your mobile user is, whether in which country they are, to which network they are connected, and so on. So you can specify rates based on mobile country code and mobile network code. This is a kind of standard. This information is typically present in roaming data sessions. This is in addition to diameter interface that we support, diameter GUI interface support. So it's a standard thing. It is supported by majority, if not all, data gateways. So it can work with any brand of data gateway. And it allows you to provide the risk-free roaming service to your mobile subscribers. The next feature, again, in the area of mobile communication, is basically, it's not really a feature, it's the integrations that we've done with mobile core components provided by our partner, Protei. You may need those components if you decide to launch MVNO, and some mobile operators will force you to deploy your own HSS, HLR, PCRF, and so on. They don't want you to use their own core components. They will force you to have your own. So we did integration with HLR HSS. It's basically a database of mobile subscribers with their SIM card and some other parameters. And we did integration with PCRF. That's basically a policy controller for internet sessions, which keeps the database of users with assigned policies. And each policy tells what session parameters should be applied to the specific user. And those parameters are like, bandwidth limit, quality of service, traffic limit, and so on. So we've integrated with Protea components, and if you want to deploy, to launch MVNO, this so-called full MVNO solution, when the mobile operator forces you to have your own core components, you can do it pretty much immediately. Since the two systems are already integrated, it means there is zero time to market to deploy a solution. Most of you are aware that we've been working on the new web interface for quite a while. And we are happy to report that we have completed the first phase. First phase means that majority of your administrators will be able to do all their regular daily operations on the new web interface. And starting from MR65 build 1, the new interface is the default one. That's what you will get by default when you log in into the system. But don't worry, if you have some operations which are not yet covered by the new web interface, we still have the old interface available for backward compatibility. And there is just a single click, a very simple navigation between all the new interface. So it doesn't take any time to go from one interface to another. We plan to complete, and I will show you a few things from the new interface on the following slides. But just to summarize, we have started the second phase already, basically to finish all the features of billing to be included on the new interface, and we plan to complete it next year. So let me show you a few examples. This is, for example, the navigation tree. You can see that there are various areas. So all items are grouped into those areas. But unlike in the old versions where we had a two-level menu, in the new version, it's a tree-like structure with multiple levels. So you can drill down to the required feature, functionality, required billing entity, and work with it. And as you can see, there is a... Oops. Okay, there is a link, this old UI. It's a link to the old user interface. So for any component, for any entity, you can just with a single click, you can jump to the old interface to manage, for example, SIM cards or DAD inventory and so on. So that's the navigation part of the new web interface. Another addition on the new web interface is a single page for troubleshooting. It combines, or it can combine information from all logs, from billing engine log, SIP log. Yeah, a single page will present you with all the required data. But the new thing, it can highlight the error which happens during the call processing. And not only it can highlight the errors, it can detect the most typical issues, and it will provide you with suggestions on how to overcome those issues. So pretty much it simplifies work for your customer service, for your help desk. They can do most of the troubleshooting themselves, and the most typical issues, which usually take like 90% of the customer service time, they will get suggestions on how to solve those issues. So this is an example of such a case when you have failed digest authentication and the system tells you that the problem with this call is that the system attempts to do digest authentication and it just fails. So it provides suggestion on what can be done in order to resolve that issue. Yeah. And together with the new web interface, we've redesigned the access level or access management. There is no need to type names of the objects anymore. Now we provide you with a tree-like structure of the user interface entities, and it's basically point and click. You just select whatever entity you need, and then we also simplified permissions. Now permissions are reduced basically to three options. There is either restricted access, there is read-only access, and there is full access. So you just choose from one of those three options. You just choose one from one of those three options. So we believe this simplifies access management a lot. Now it should be much easier to create your own customized access levels, and have all your staff working with or having access to the right parts of the web interface. Now I'm passing the microphone back to Andrew.
Hello again. So as you all know, the cloud is a very hot topic for telecoms these days. People are interested, people are willing to go into the cloud. Earlier this year, we did a survey among Porta customers, and the acceptance rate among Porta customers were actually surprisingly high, but I attribute this to the fact that majority of Porta customers, they are agile operators. They are operators who embrace the technology, who are willing to take calculated risks in order to be first to the market, in order to have the best technology, in order to win. So this is why more than half of our customers said they are willing to put their production system into the cloud. They're willing to accept this. And the remaining customers, pretty much all of them, said they are okay with running their staging and development system in the cloud. What are expectations from the cloud? So what the cloud should provide? Again, majority of our customers say they expect cloud to introduce some reduction in the operating costs, which is reasonable. They also see cloud as a tool to improve the speed with which new services or new products are being deployed and to scale better. And only 1/3 of our customers see the cloud as the way to improve their reliability. And I attribute this to the fact that majority of you already have a platform which has built-in high availability, has clusters, has database cluster, has site redundancy. So considering that, moving to cloud will not really change things much. When I shared these results with a crowd at the Oracle Open World, people were a bit surprised, but again, this is most to the fact that we have a very advanced, very technology savvy, very progressive telco crowd, I would say. So we have our PortaSwitch in the cloud available now. It can be used to deploy a new system, can be used to deploy new projects, can be used to host additional sites to enhance operations of your main system hosted in the private cloud. And it also can be used to deploy the dual version PortaSwitch, something which will make everybody's life easier by being able to keep up with the recent maintenance releases. What are the challenges which we have to overcome in order to move into the cloud? Most of the cloud operations, most of the cloud designs so far, they were built for the purpose of running web applications. And they do the job pretty well because we are utilizing the years of trial and error, of test and development in that area. What makes telecom applications a bit different? First of all, they have totally different degree of sensibility to the real-time performance. If web page loads 1 second longer, nobody will really notice. If it loads 200 or 300 milliseconds longer, nobody will even care. For the VoIP traffic, for the real voice processing, 200 milliseconds delay will make sound quality intolerable and the calls just cannot go through. Also for web applications, technologies such as caching is widely popular. Well, it's great because if user sees a website which is maybe 1 hour outdated, again, nobody will really care. Well, for when we're placing a phone call, we're placing communication, well, there's only one place where it should go to. It's my phone or your phone, and it's not acceptable to provide an IVR recording of that user made 1 hour ago instead of real live conversation. So there's totally different degree to the availability and real-time performance. This is why we saw there is a need to go a bit beyond the typical public cloud infrastructure, because normally it doesn't guarantee real-time performance. It has a very vague commitments to the network throughput. We did extensive testing of various Oracle Cloud options. We tested the traditional public cloud, we tested the dedicated public cloud, and finally we settled down on the bare metal. Now it has been renamed to the OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The idea is that we are pretty much renting the raw computing capacity, either just servers or virtual machines of those servers, but with minimal virtualization and direct access to the network. We are able to configure the network the way we need it to, because also another difference between telecom applications, web applications. Applications such as SoftSwitch, PortaSwitch, they are network aware. They have to know about its own IP address. They have to know about the network topology. They have to do things such as net traversal. Web applications, they don't really care whether users connected to them through IPv4, IPv6. It's not their job. So for this Oracle bare metal, we did a quite impressive performance. We were able, in one of the tests, we were generating 23,000 concurrent calls and creating almost 1 gigabit of the actual bandwidth load with voice packets. So this seemed to be one of the better options for hosting telecom applications. OCI is currently available in the US and European Union, Frankfurt, but I expect it to be extended to other continents and countries soon. And right now, a lot of our customers are still running, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said in the latest Terminator movie, old, not obsolete, releases 50 and 55. I'm sure you are eager to get access to all the cool things we've been discussing, and Eleonora will tell you about how this is going to be possible.
Hello, everyone. As you may know, I mostly work with PortaOne customers on assisting them in configuration of their scenarios. And according to my experience, it is a common situation when required functionality is available in one of the newer releases. At this moment, more than a half of PortaSwitch installations run MR50 and 55. Earlier, to start providing newer features to your customers, you would have needed to undergo a number of update procedures. And at the moment, the latest LTS release is 65. So, for example, there is a provider with a MR50 running installation. So to start providing newest features, he would need to undergo 3 updates. From MR50 to MR55, from MR55 to MR60, and from MR60 to MR65. As you may know, update procedure is a time-consuming operation as it needs some preparation. There may be some downtime and some other unexpected circumstances. For example, there are some customers using very specific type of the phones that do not support latest SIP stack. They may face some issues as this type of the phones were not tested in our lab and you didn't manage to test them on your side also. So that's why we have backported dual version technology into older releases. So now gradual update is available for operators with MR50 and MR55. It is possible to migrate a group of pilot customers from existing MR50 or 55 installation to the latest one to test all the scenarios, observe the customers and ensure that everything runs smoothly, migrate more and more customers, and so migrate all the customers in batches. In such a way, your end users will be able to enjoy features developed for new releases earlier. So you may ask, how does it work? So there is running MR50 or 55 installation. API, OCS, dispatchers, and dispatching SBC are set up in front of the system. They assure that communication with the outer world is transparent. An alter ego system is set up with MR65 behind the dispatchers. All the API SIB diameter requests are proxied between installations by means of dispatchers. So Porter, a special utility that moves entities between installations, is used to migrate customers from existing to the new system. So once the customer is migrated from existing installation to the new one and initiates a call or open self-care or initiates an LT session, all the requests are proxied by dispatchers and sent to the very system where the customer is located at the moment. That's why your end users will not notice that they were moved from one installation to another one, and they will start enjoying the new features at once without any interruption. As the migration is performed by Porter, the load on your administrators and other staff will be minimal. So the other question that may arise is where the new installation can be set up. This actually is based on your preferences. A MR65 alter ego system can be set up in the same data center that is currently used for your existing system. It can be set up in the different data center or in cloud. While dual version system is used and provides ability to run different versions of the PortaSwitch at the same time, each system, the main or alter ego system, can be set up with multiple sites for increased reliability. So any of the systems can be geographically distributed and have multiple sites. For instance, service provider on MR50 wants to migrate via dual version PortaSwitch. He has geo-redundancy set up on his current MR50 and wants to be sure that in case of some disaster, MR65 will keep running. So simply geo-redundant MR65 is set up. This ensures high reliability and network efficiency for both systems. For sure, migration from MR50 and MR55 to the newest release is an interesting opportunity for you. That's why our support can prepare a custom-tailored migration plan for you. So if you have any questions in regard to the migration with the dual version PortaSwitch, contact our support team and start discussing and preparing the migration plan. Thank you for your attention, and I'm now passing the micro to Andrew.
Okay, and now let's talk about the nearest future. What's going to happen? Right now, we are on the maintenance release 65 as the long life release. The next leap forward release is 66. It's pretty much, it's almost here. It's going to be released in less than 2 weeks. Then we'll follow with the leap forward release of 67, and the long life MR70 is going to be available next May. And I sincerely hope that next year, because of proliferation of this dual version technology, the specific versions and the release dates are not going to be that important, because then you will be able to pick and choose your own update schedule or pick and choose whichever releases are better desired or more desired by your marketing team to deliver specific functionality. Right now on our roadmap is to further work on enhancing our cloud offer, specifically to allow integration and cooperation between existing installations on premises. Well, we have about 400 installations of customers like yourself, and they're all currently installed in the data centers. So if you bought those servers a couple of years ago, there is no point in throwing them into the trash just yet. So let them run there, but we can enhance the reliability of your operations with additional cloud sites. And then maybe in a year or two, when it's time for the hardware renewal, hardware upgrade, then you can consider if you want to continue with the private cloud or if you want to move everything into the public cloud. And as I said, we see the dual version as one of the key tools to allow you to operate without any hiccups while delivering brand new services, technology which are required by users, and staying ahead of the competition. We'll continue working on the new interface. Our immediate plan is to finish all the small remaining components. Because as Mike said, right now, in your daily operations, when you work with customers, rating plans, products, volume discounts, pretty much everything you do on a daily basis, it's already covered on the new interface. Small things remaining, such as maybe creating a node or working with the routing criteria, but these things are usually done quite infrequently, but still we want to make everything consistent and adhere to the new interface. And the next step for us for a new interface is working with the roles. Excuse me, we have some glitch. The document disappeared. Sorry for that. So yes, so we're going to allow presentation of different objects based on their actual meaning. For instance, an account which represents a phone line provision to a voice over IP phone will be shown and visible differently than something which represents mobile subscriber, right? Because there we have MSISDN, there we have VoIP numbers. So we just want to make it clear for administrators and for end users what they're working with. On the internal architecture of a system, we'll be going towards using more containers and microservices to allow better operation and also to allow updating and enhancing maybe just portions of a system. For instance, if you have a new IP phone which has been released on the market today, right, and you want to have it provisioned and managed by the system, or maybe even instead of doing an update to the next version, which is going to be easier, but still it is a process which takes time. Maybe you can just have a container which has the required code and functionality to provision that particular phone, and then just that individual container can be plugged in into your existing installation. We see more and more of our customers interested in using MVNO services or even becoming full-scale mobile operators. So to accommodate that, we will add some functionality which is typically attributed to the OSS, specifically provisioning data into mobile networks like we do with Porta. We will extend a list of equipment types, for instance, Gate or SS7 whereas one of the items on the list. We will work more with provisioning into specific carriers such as T-Mobile or Sprint in the United States, and we will add additional functionalities such as the SIM card inventory management and reporting, which are normally attributed to the OSS. For our customers in the European Union, compliance to the general data protection rights is a big thing. Deadline is May 2018. We are aware of it, we're working, and we're fully committed to make it our solution compliant and making your operation run smoothly. we already have established an office within the European Union. The first employees there have started the training. So for instance, we will be able to provide the first level support from within the European Union, and we'll also be working on making necessary adjustment to the software itself, for instance, allowing pseudonymization when browsing call details and all those things, and our internal process again, to allow your operation to run smoothly and you to be compliant with regulations. And Internet of Things seem to be a hot topic these days. There are projects related to various implementations of this technology popping up. We are just starting a few integrations projects with platforms like Jasper for IoT device management, and I hope it's going to be beneficial for everybody who may come to any type of IoT project, whether it's connected cars, whether it's smart homes, or something related to it. As usual, we prefer to develop functionality based on the specific project. We know who is the customer, we know what their requirements are. So if you have something interesting, come to us, let's discuss together, let's work together. The earlier you come, the better it is. It's always a shame when we have a customer who comes to us and they have a very interesting project, but the deadline for it is next week. And it's physically impossible to not even to do a full proper analysis of a project, not even speaking about doing the actual development. We are always happy to meet you face-to-face. There's going to be a conference in Las Vegas, Calyx Connections, just next week. So if you can attend it there, we'll be happy to see you. There's also AfricaCom in Cape Town. And then early 2018, we will be in Fort Lauderdale at IT Expo East. Now we are going into our Q&A session. Just a quick recap of what we have discussed. So one of the key developments in PortaSwitch in the last 3 releases were availability of a new web interface, creation of this framework for provisioning mobile network, and using Prote as a first example of such provisioning, but we can add additional ones. So if you have a different vendor of a core network, we are trying to be agnostic, so we will be happy to work with them as well. Availability of a dual version upgrade for customers who are still running maintenance release 50 and 55. So we have spent a lot of time working on that, and I hope it's something you will be able to use to move up the maintenance releases and gain access to the newest functionality effortlessly and virtually risk-free. And right now, for customers who are running releases 50 and 55, or for our existing customers who are interested in deploying additional sites, whether it's for improved redundancy or to deploy a dual version system, please contact our sales department. We do have a special promotion available until the end of this year. And there are some customers who are running even older releases, such as 45 or even 40. And we do have tools and experience also to allow fast migration for them. For instance, just about 2 weeks ago, we did a customer migration from maintenance release 16 to maintenance release 65. That is something which requires advanced planning. So again, talk to us, let's discuss your project requirements, and let's see how we can help. Okay, so we're switching to Q&A mode. So the question about the new log viewer and the API which is available to it in case you want to use it from your own self-care interface. Well, pretty much all the new interface, it consists of 2 parts. It has a front-end part and it has a back-end. And you should be able to use the back-end portion from your own application. but it's not something which is exposed through a regular API. A traditional API which is exposed to customers, because there we normally just work with the methods which are available for managing customer information, vendor rates, and routing. So yes, there's an API, but how to use it from your own web applications is an advanced topic. For dual version system, question is whether it's going to be required a different set of servers. Well, yes, of course, because we have your existing system, and the whole idea of a dual version system, we don't want to touch it, right? We don't want to mess around with a system which already has 100,000 active customers. So we're going to put a different set of servers, site, or system. What is the amount of servers there? We can decide, and that's going to be specific to a project. Because obviously, if your plan is to gradually move all the customers from one system to another, then the new system should be nearly as powerful as the old one. Some of the customers, they prefer to do it the other way. They would say, well, our dual version system is a pilot one, so it has less capacity than the main system. We are aware of that. We are using it to move there maybe 1% of customers and add another 2%. And when we are 10 or 15% of all the customers move to the new release, we know we feel comfortable. Then we can just do the big update on the other system. That's also entirely possible. So it's a custom project, so let's discuss it in the context of your specific requirements. And a question with a dual version upgrade, if a zero downtime possible. Yes, that's pretty much the whole idea. So what you will have when you have your main system and the new system, the so-called alter ego, they operate independently. When you move a single customer, there's maybe a few minutes outage for that customer while he is being transferred to another system, but then it's automatic. And if we go through the method of when we use the alter ego system just to try out the new release, and then we do the big update on the main system. If we have main system consists of two sites, main one and secondary one, yes, then we can do the zero downtime update on that side as well. Question about in which release the new web interface is going to be available. Well, the new web interface is available now, pretty much. You can already use it even in the releases 64 and 65. From release 65.1 and 66.1, we are adding the unified navigation screen, so it becomes the default. The new interface becomes default for the portions such as customer, product, subscriptions, rates, volume discount plans, vendors, which it covers. And also the trace call, the trace log is also becoming available in 66.1. So from those reasons, you can use it pretty much all the time. And the new access levels, they are available with 65 or 66. Actually, we'll have to check that. Or you can check our new features guide. It's published on our website. But I know the new access level system is already available. A question whether we are intent of developing service such as Twilio. Well, we don't intend to do this because we already have this. You have a system which is PortaSwitch. It's a soft switch system. You have an API for doing call control. You can do call initiation. You can do call bridging. You can actually do much, much more than Twilio does. The Twilio did a great job of like making the things popular, kind of like spending money on the advertisement with the idea of people can develop their own applications. But right now you have all of that pretty much a long time ago. And the new call control API, which we introduced, it's web services based, so it's very easy to use it from there. Okay. And the question about IPv6. So what is the roadmap for the integration? Well, we do support running services. So the application which work on which require IPv6, for instance, from what I know, the latest iTunes, Apple Store, they require applications to be certified on the IPv6, and we have passed that, so it works just fine. We support IPv6 for the management interfaces and for operating the network interfaces, so that's supported as well. Right now, we have planned to do kind of full IPv6 migration, but frankly speaking, right now it's a bit lower priority because, as I said, from all the practical purposes, you can deliver service to IPv6 networks and clients which run in IPv6. So for me right now, that's my job and my responsibility to ensure the allocation of the engineering resources we have the most benefit of Porta customers. So I would rather spend time of our developers developing something which we don't have yet, which we cannot do yet, or on things such as dual version system, which allow you to operate more efficiently. Okay. I think these are all the questions which we have received so far. So then I would like to thank you all for your time. Thank you for your participation. If you come up with some question which you forgot to ask right now, or if you have a project you would like to discuss, or if you have an idea and we're here, you can send us an email, you can give us a call, or you can schedule a face-to-face meeting during one of the trade shows we're having in the near future. Thank you very much for attending, and I see you either at the trade show or at our next webcast. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.